Hey, we're back. Ideal Protein Nation around the world. Today is episode 10, and seems like an epic number, and we've got an epic show for you today. I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun. So for those of you who don't know about the Life Possible podcast, we're going to probably have a lot of new viewers this week, and I'm very, very excited about that. So the Life Possible podcast spotlights successful clients, coaches, and clinic owners in the Ideal Protein weight loss program. These people have actually used this protocol, this medical protocol, to transform their lives. And we like to say that they're now living life possible. Life possible is different for everyone, but it's something that's totally different from the way that they were living before they came into the program. These people are living lives that they love so much that they don't even feel the need to escape from them. They're living lives they love so much they can't imagine going back to the way that they were before. So it's my hope that you will be able to identify with these people, and that they will say something in their story that will let you know that they are just like you. Although I don't know that there's many people that are just like this guest today. He is a one of a kind. But that you'll identify with these people and you'll say, you know what, if they can actually look like. Well, who am I? My name is Dr. John Barnes. And that's me. Yep, there it is. My name is Dr. John Barnes. And you know what? I was fat, sick, and depressed, and I didn't see a way out. And along came the Ideal Protein protocol, and I truly feel like it was the answer to many of my prayers, both personally and professionally. I did the Ideal Protein protocol, and the first time that I went through phase 1, I lost 45 pounds. It wasn't just the weight loss, though, man. I tell you, it absolutely changed my life. And now I'm healthy, vibrant, and alive, and I've been given a second chance. So that picture over there on the right was my first triathlon about a year and a half ago. And these days I'm living my life possible by training and racing in the sport of triathlon after over 25 years of inactivity. I'm over 60 pounds down now. I took myself to the next level here in 2020, and I couldn't be more excited. So who do we got for you this week? Well, I tell you what, we've got this guy, Bruce Frederick, or he goes by many names. However, we're going to be cooking with Bruce Frederick. Bruce lost over 100 pounds himself doing the Ideal Protein protocol. He is out in Washington State, and part of his life possible is he went on to create a cooking channel on Facebook, and his channel is cooking, entertainment, and more. I'm so excited for you people to get to know Bruce Frederick. Let me bring him. Oh, you know what? Actually, I've got a very special treat. Here we go. So watch this, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably one of the best introductions you can get to the Cooking with Bruce Frederick channel.
Goddamn, there ain't my tomatoes.
Without further ado, I want to bring to you guys, ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Frederick.
You know, I haven't seen that video for a while, and it still makes me kind of laugh. You know, I guess if you can't laugh at yourself, you shouldn't be laughing at all. And that video to me, it probably took 30 minutes, changing my clothes a couple times, and doing this goofy, video. Pretty silly.
Yeah, absolutely hilarious. Bruce, Tell me a little bit. I want to start right off with your personal story, your personal weight loss story. Introduce yourself to our listeners. What do you're in Washington State, right?
Well, I am in Washington State, halfway point from Portland and Seattle. And I'm looking out the window right now, and I'm kind of a little sad about the chickens. You know, I'm looking at these chickens running around, and it's so smoky that I'm thinking chickens aren't going to make it. I have never done CPR on a chicken. Well, heck, I got an expired first aid card, so I don't know if I want to go out there and even deal with those things. What makes me mad about those chickens is they get on my lawnmower, and they do bad things on my seat. So every time I come out there, I got to wipe this stuff off. But I'll tell you the personal story. And actually, most guys that wear a cowboy hat don't have hair. And I actually got a full head of hair. I got a little bit of stuff in there, but I'll explain the cowboy hat later.
All right.
So for 22 years, I was in the Army for 4 years, and I got out of there, which was an interesting thing. I painted rocks in the Army. I done a lot of busy work, and like just interesting, crazy stuff. Traveled the country, the world, and been in places that I found friends still today. Yeah. I got cops that are in Finland. I'm still buddies because I was an MP in the Army. Okay. And so I ended up coming back. I'm a dorky. December 1998, I started at the sheriff's office. I've been 22 years of this job. And I can tell you, I've seen more weird stuff in my life than probably most people haven't seen. And I tell you, anybody in this line of work that they do it, my hat will always be off to them. Their courage and in today's society and everything else, God bless them.
Now, 100%, Bruce, and thank you so much for all of your service, both to our country and right now to your community. And you say that tongue in cheek that you've seen some of the weirdest stuff, right? But on the serious side, you've seen things that we can't even imagine, right?
And I don't want to get into that negativity. And this whole thing that I got going on, this Cooking with Bruce Frederick and my lifestyle change, is about positivity. Yep. And people do mean things to people. And, it takes someone to say, hey, follow me, you'll be happier. And I think that this whole thing of this change of life and everything else is about being happier. Yes. And we'll get into all that crazy stuff. But I'm a married man, and I have a little 4-year-old daughter at 44 years old. And you're seeing the picture over here, right there. That's Sissy. And you up in the top right, at 338 pounds, with that beautiful woman.
I'm telling you.
They're both beautiful. But I tend to say, even at 338 pounds, you got to have a little bit of personality to pull one of those down. And then on the bottom there with the green shirt, that was 2 years ago. And wow, you're talking about a big man, and in law enforcement, when you're 338 pounds and you show up to a lot of calls, people don't talk to you, mess with you. I found out when you lose weight, they want to wrestle. And now you got to wrestle around with people. And I'm like, before I never had to do anything. I just say, move, do this, do that, whatever, and they get out of the way. Now I wrestle a little bit, and I'm like, oh boy, this is a harder job being a thinner man, I think.
Well, and we talked about this too, right? You brought up a really great point when we were talking about this, that not only that, but your experience as a thinner man as opposed to a larger man, that you got kicked out of the club, right? You can no longer make jokes.
Yeah. I used to be able, when you're a 338-pound man, you could talk crap about weight all you want. You could make all the crazy jokes like you got more dimples on your butt than the Titleist golf ball. You got, and the reason why you got two chins is because the NFL went with two chin straps. You can't say that when you lose the weight, folks. I'm telling you, it's over. You're going to get beat up if you make stupid jokes when you're thin, because big guys do not like a guy talking crap about weight. They don't know what it's like. And so
material at that point.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, you know what? I wanted to bring out the point that part of the inspiration for Cooking with Bruce Frederick and the humor and the energy and effort that goes into your videos is to give you a release and to really kind of counterbalance the negativity that you've been through and that you've witnessed, and for everyone right now. And I truly think that this show hits at a great time in our situation here, and I think our viewers and our listeners are going to enjoy it. And I'm going to encourage them at the end of the show to join Cooking with Bruce Frederick on Facebook if they are on, and also or follow him on YouTube.
Well, you can follow. I don't make a penny on it. I don't care about any money on it whatsoever. It's more about my fun. It's what makes me happy. Yep. It's my dorky hobby on the side. Yep. And I'm a gardener. I'm a landscaper. I love, hey, don't get weird on me just because I'm over here between Seattle and Portland. I like flowers and messing around and everything else. I supply flowers at weddings and everything else.
Wow. Again, a side I had no idea.
I just enjoy that side of it, and I probably had a garden every year since I was 21.
Wow.
And, every year of my life, my dad was really into it, so I kind of picked that up from him. But I love walking out in August and picking something like a piece of broccoli out and take it back to the kitchen and do something with it. Make something out of what you get and what you're growing. That's so cool. But you got to remember here, in where I'm at is rural. It's rural. A lot of people think of Washington, think of Seattle. Most people don't even know the capital, which is Olympia, which I tell you what, they got a lot of drama going up there, and it's like 35 minutes away from me. Mm-hmm. But for me, this county that I live in, they're beautiful, good people. And we all have land. Everybody has a shop, and they got a man room in the shop, that kind of a thing. It's just a different lifestyle than city people and everything else that live. My neighbor, right now is 250 yards away. And so that's what we live. And our taxes are great. I tell you what, come down to Lewis County, Washington. You're going to enjoy yourself. Don't go to Seattle because Amazon's moving out of there. They're going to Bellevue. Don't go to Portland. They're all moving up this way, or Idaho or Montana. And I'm blaming Yellowstone for that. Yellowstone, the TV show. They're all
gotcha.
California and some of the big city stuff. They think they can handle the winter. I couldn't handle the winter. It's so crazy over there.
And Yellowstone's on my list to watch. I haven't watched that yet. So tell me this. Let's go into the whole idea. How did you find out about the Ideal Protein program?
Oh, so I'm 338 pounds sitting in the office minding my own business, and I got this one guy that works in the building, and he's an elected official, and he's a prosecutor, and he's an intelligent, crazy, smart man. And we've been friends for years. I knew him when he was a defense attorney, and I've had trials with him, and he ends up becoming the elected prosecutor. And one day he comes down to me, and I'm thinking, he tells me, like, Bruce, I'm doing this diet, he did call it a diet at the time. And he goes, I want you to do this with me. And I'm like, no, bad. It's a bad, crazy, goofy thing. No, I'm not doing it. And he's like, all right, I'm doing it. And then there's two other gals that were in the building that were doing the same thing. And I started walking around. I look at him, a couple weeks go by, and I'm like, no changes. Month number 2, he's like down 30 pounds. This man was a big son of a gun. And I'm like, hey, boy, how did he lose that weight that fast? And then I started watching him, and next thing you know, he's down 80 pounds. And I'm like, Bruce, you better get on the board here, because I was like, it's a fad diet. It's BS. It's crazy. And listen, I'm not getting paid to say this. Nobody's giving me nothing. This is just my personal opinion. And so I'm watching him, and I'm like, oh boy, that's crazy. You're an idiot, Bruce. You're a dummy. And, I mean. And so I'm watching, and I'm months behind, right? And so I end up, I'm like, okay, I come over there like hey, John, hey, what do you think? Maybe you talk to me about this diet again. So he tells me, and he goes, listen, you're a cop. They're going to give you a discount, healthy badge. I don't even know what percentage.
Yeah, we had a great program going on, healthy badge.
And he goes, do it. Sign up. See what I said. No, listen, I don't want to do anything. How much it costs? And I was all worried about the money. But I did it because I had a breaking point in my life. Like, listen, you're going to die. You have this beautiful child. You got this beautiful wife. Do you want to do it, or do you want to get on with life? And so I'm like, whatever. And so I go and talk to Maria Stockdale at Walker Wellness Clinic in Centralia, Washington. And that was an interesting experience. And, starting it off, I've never, I've been in the military and everything else. I never knew anything about this. And so when they ended up talking to me about it and explaining to me the whole protocol, I guess is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, whatever, tell me what to do. I'll follow the directions. I'll do what you say. Because the reason why, I'm paying for it. And if you're paying for it, you're going to be a little bit more interested in it. It wasn't like your buddy talking to you like, hey, you need to quit eating pizza and beer. It was
right.
Beautiful coaching. It was brilliant coaching.
And it was tough coaching, evidently.
What?
And it was tough on you, right?
Actually, when I first started, she was, matter of fact, not mess around, no joking, no nothing, serious about it. And I'm like, why is she so serious, And after a while, I started seeing her personality because she knew that I was taking it serious. Yeah. And I think in 3 months, it was 108 pounds down. And what she taught me is how to change my lifestyle and cooking and everything, and change everything that I thought about, knew, or whatever else, and do things differently.
Yeah, no, I did have the opportunity to have a conversation and meet Maria by video, and she's just absolutely fantastic. You really got yourself an incredible coach and their clinic, Walker Wellness. What's the name of the town that you guys are in?
Centralia.
I can't pronounce it.
Centralia.
Centralia. Yep.
I live 15 minutes from that town, but Centralia, and there's a Centralia in probably every state in the United States for some reason. This community that I live in is basically a logging community, agriculture. The hops started in this area. Mm-hmm. Hops for beer. And I tell you what, back in the day, I enjoyed myself a Busch Light. I love a Busch Light latte, but I knew changing my lifestyle, you better quit messing around with the Busch Light. It gets you in trouble, make you gain weight. It's dangerous. And then the microbrews, everybody hears about microbrews in Seattle to Portland.
Yeah.
Fishtail Ale, Red Hook Ale, Henry Weinhardt's, all that kind of stuff. And drinking a loaf of bread.
It's
every
liquid
time
bread,
you have
baby.
that beer, it's liquid bread.
So you went ahead and now other people are looking at you. Other people are watching you drop the weight. And you've also had a neat experience where you've had some pretty intense impact on other people's lives. Give us a couple of those stories.
Well, one of them is probably one of my favorites. He's a Green Beret Sergeant Major Vietnam vet. And he owns a company, a corporation company. And the company is about transporting, goods across the country. And he only hires veterans. And these veterans are Navy SEALs and all these Rangers and special forces. And they drive these trucks across the country delivering whatever.
Yeah.
And so I got to know this man, and and I call him Sergeant Major. Nobody calls him because he's been retired for so long since the Vietnam War and everything else. But you're talking Green Beret Sergeant Major. And I asked him a lot of questions because, I'm used to watching, those TV shows, Born on the 4th of July and Platoon and so I asked him a lot of weird questions. And one of the questions I asked him this one time, I said, "Hey, when you were over there, did you see anybody using drugs?" And he goes, "Bruce, if they're using drugs, you'd kill them because they're going to get you killed." That's how crazy he was in the Vietnam War. And I go, "What are you talking about?" "No, they'll get you killed. If they're on the dope and drugs, you don't have time." I mean, he's 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
And so he saw me and saw that I dropped this weight. And he goes, "Hey, tell me about what you're doing." And I would say, he owns this trucking operation that, he cannot pass a medical to drive the truck. And I said, "Well, this is what I did. I went to Ideal Protein, and I explained everything to him."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he gets on it, and he brings his couple kids on it, and one of them is a retired Green Beret, in the Special Forces. Another one, he has a grandson in the Green Berets. It's just a military family.
Yeah.
And he was at one time a nutritionist in the military. And so I hook him up on this whole thing, and I tell him, the kickback for me is probably a pomegranate bar. I don't get any money for it, nothing. I'm telling you, there's nothing there. But I wanted to make this man happy. He got on it 3 months, just like me. Bam. 3 months, and I'm talking guy stuff, not on the gal side. I got some gal stories, but the guy stuff, 3 months, bam. He calls, says, "Bruce, come over here right now. I want to talk to you." I'm like, "Whatever."
You're thinking, uh-oh.
Yeah, so I drive over there and talk to him. Looks awesome. He is like, his shirt's tucked in. One of the stories he told me, he goes, "My grandson was graduating from officer candidate school. And when you're a retired military man, you wear your dress blues and you go to your grandsons." He couldn't fit them. He couldn't put them on. He went to it. He was so embarrassed that he had to wear something other than, the crazy ribbons all the way down, and the combat patch, and everything like that.
Yeah.
He was so embarrassed. And he goes, "I can wear my uniform now." And he said, "Bruce, you saved my life. I have a Green Beret Sergeant Major Vietnam vet told me it's probably the awesome, best feeling I've had through this whole journey."
Absolutely.
That I saved his life. And it was amazing to me. I've had a lot of weird stuff in my job, but in my personal level, saving somebody's life was pretty awesome.
That goes right up there.
He can drive the truck again. He can participate in the business instead of just talking to guys that come through the office. And he is probably the most impressive. The second one that I got, I'm in Portland, and I'm at this cop leadership conference, and there's like fire people and all these people. And I'm watching this guy, and his name is Jack. This is like is this a prop for a book? But no, it's not. It's the story of this man, and his name is Jack Enner. This guy, he talked in front of I don't know, there's 500 of us sitting there, you know, and when you're at this cop training, you're thinking, what are you going to do tonight? You know, should we go to Hooters? Should we, that kind of thing. And anyway, so I'm sitting there in this audience of 500 people. And next thing you know, I'm thinking, this guy's funny. He's crazy funny. He got my attention because his personality, this jackhammer and everything else. And so I need to talk to this man because he's big. And he was bigger than me, but he's also like late 60s, 70-year-old man. So I beeline when there's a break. I beeline up there and I said, hey, my name's Bruce. I want to talk to you. I want to tell you how I lost 108 pounds in 3 months. And, at first he's like, well, whatever. And then I start talking to him over the phone. He lives in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
And so we get talking and everything else. Next thing you know, he gets on this protocol, this lifestyle change.
Mm-hmm.
He takes it full force. So he's calling me. He goes, like,
that's
hey,
amazing.
I never cooked before, Bruce. I never did this. I never done that. And I'm like, hey, listen, you follow what I'm telling you on cooking, you'll be fine. He's traveling around the country doing all these talks. And okay, I'm in Arizona this week. What do I do when I go to the restaurant?
Yep.
You order a piece of meat, you get a salad, get the right dressing, or you're going to blow up your day. And so I coached him on the side, and he didn't have a clinic or anything where he was at. So he ended up doing it, like this Zoom thing across the country from Centralia, Washington, with 30,000 population to Savannah, Georgia, where he's at. And he dropped all the weight. He dropped it. And then I started seeing him in his clothes, and, his shirt was like this on him. And I'm like, hey, dude, you're going to have to buy a new suit. And he's like, I don't know if I want to spend the money or just retire. He has time for his grandkids. He has time for everything in life. So that's why I enjoyed talking to other people, helping them out.
Yeah. And, when I was talking with Maria, she had mentioned that at one point she created what she called a family tree, which I think is an amazing idea too. And she listed out all the people that came into the clinic based on your experience. Some you had referred directly, but then it's kind of like, he told two friends and they told two friends and so on and so on. She said the family tree, she believes, is up to 72 people at this stage of the game. And, again, for somebody, which again, in your community, somebody who's so well known and somebody who is seen all the time, just an incredible impact. So, there's people who've gone through this program and their life has been impacted and you don't even know who they are. And I think that's really something special. And we'll get into that again. Let's move into real quick. You were talking about the Sergeant Major and the fact that him being a military nutritionist. I wanted to broach the story that you told me about after you lost your weight, when you called up your military buddies from your experience and talked to them about what the hell.
Well, and that's actually kind of interesting. And, problem that I have, I'm on the West Coast. Some of these guys are on the East Coast. So when I call them, it's like late or crazy late. So one day when I dropped this 108 pounds, and when I was in the Army, I got tape tested. They're taping you all the time. And I could pass my PT test. I had 72 sit-ups in 2 minutes. I could do the mile and a half, 15 minutes or 14, whatever. And then, whatever they had to do every quarter. But my entire military career, I missed out on serious awards that I had coming in. I missed out on promotions because I was overweight. I was a big kid, and then, you go to work, you do PT in the morning at 6:30, and then you're doing that physical fitness again twice a day. And nobody said, hey, quit eating this, quit drinking that, and you're going to lose the weight. Nobody knew it at the time. So once this all came to me, I call up my bosses back in the day, which I can find anybody. I found someone in Mexico one time and got them back to the United States. But anyway, so I found these guys and I call them up out of the blue. I said, listen, are you crazy? You put me through hell when you could have just told me this kind of lifestyle and I would have dropped the weight carbs like crazy, dump the carbs, and everything else. And so the one guy I talked to, and when you're in the Army, it's kind of like being in the prison because you're always talking about, hey, when I get out, I'm going to do this. Right. And we all had our dreams of what we want to do. One guy wanted to take over his family organic farm in California. One guy wanted to be do canine kennels and train cop dogs. One guy wanted to run a prison or a jail. And so I'm like, that don't sound fun. And I had my dream of going into law enforcement. And so we all talked about this all the time. It always came up.
I'm sorry. Say that again, Bruce, because you froze. What was your dream?
My dream was going into law enforcement when I got it. I went in the Army just to go into law enforcement.
Wow.
I need it for my resume. I need it for the veteran preference points to get hired, and everything else. And so all of us had these dreams. Yeah. And every one of us did our dream. Not one of us did not do the dream.
That's so cool.
So when I called the sergeant, the same sergeant that had me doing physical fitness 2 times a day, and I said, what are you doing? What did you not know about tell me to quit eating pizza and pommes frites in Germany and all these crazy things? And he goes, man, I'm sorry, Bruce. I didn't know. I didn't know back then. Well, nobody knew.
I want you to explain a little bit deeper because the people that don't have military experience don't quite understand the whole taping idea and the weight limitations. And I guess what I didn't understand was the ramifications of on promotions and on awards.
Yeah. If you're flagged overweight in the military, you cannot get it promoted. You cannot get an award. You could have a Bronze Star coming in for saving somebody's life in a combat zone. If you're overweight, nope, you can't get it. And so
however, so if you're overweight on their chart, but then what do? They move to the tape.
Yeah. So every time they put you on basically the overweight, section, and when they weigh you every week, and they want you to, if you do not meet the weight over a period of time, they kick you out of the military, is what happens. You get a general discharge instead of an honorable discharge.
Okay.
And so what happens every week, they tape your neck, they take your chest, your stomach, and they end up weighing you up taping you up every week. And then they do this calculation in military standards and saying if you're overweight or you're not. Unfortunately for me, at 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, I was dealing with that every week. Mm-hmm. And if I knew what I knew now,
yeah, right,
I would have, I missed out on this award, this Distinguished Cross Award, like it's one of the number 1 awards that is the highest in a non-combat situation. It was for a case that I worked as an MP. And, now at 44 years old, I really don't care about awards. I don't need any of that stuff. But when you're a young kid, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And you're staying the same rank because of your weight and everything else. And you're hanging around with all the skinny guys. And when you're doing the physical fitness at 6:30 in the morning and you're just with them and you're in the top 10 of 30 guys, doesn't matter. Their standard was that weight. And so I think that anybody in the military is struggling weight. This is the way to go.
Oh, 100%. And, again, I think the biggest point that people can get from the show is, number one, this is an incredible opportunity for guys. I think it's one of the best kept secrets. And again, men take one look like you did. in the very beginning and say, oh no, that's not for me, or oh, not going to be enough food, or my wife's doing it, but that's just not a guy thing. And truly, the metabolic advantage that men have, it's something that they truly need to look into. And if it is limiting your career, gosh, this is just the way to go.
Well, you're talking about 338 pounds. You have a vest on, you have a gun belt on, you're trying to get in and out of the car, you're working shift work. And when you have to, if I can do it on shift work, if I can do it, anybody can do it, kind of a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And, so I think that I owe a lot to this whole protocol. I owe many, many things that have taught me things that professionals. I went to a nutritionist one time before I even got into this. This gal, I'm sitting there and she gives me like 20 pieces of paper, the pyramid and all that kind of stuff. And she ended up telling me about her boyfriend, that she needed to leave him. And she's looking out the window when she's talking to me. And I thought it was like, my insurance is paying to talk to this person.
Yeah.
She was a skinny Benny, but it was all textbook dorky stuff. And
ineffective, right? And not effective at all. Actually, the wrong advice.
I mean, I wasted an hour and a half listening to her about her boyfriend, and I got 20, a book on, what I should be eating, what I shouldn't, and it had nothing to do with cutting carbs, living a different lifestyle.
Well, and again, if you remember that pyramid, the base of the pyramid, 6 to 11 servings of bread, rice, cereal, and pasta is what you base your diet on. Can you even fathom 6 to 11 servings of bread, rice, cereal, and pasta in one day right now, Bruce?
I did fathom, because I did it for 40 years.
But would you do it now?
No, I wouldn't do it now. I couldn't. I know what happens if I do that. There's too much carbs in their pyramid.
So let's move on to the cooking show. Let's move on to cooking with Bruce Frederick. Okay.
How I got into it? This
is what Bruce cooks. This is what he eats. He adopted a lifestyle. He didn't just do phase one. He actually put himself through the whole program. And these are the kind of dishes that Bruce cooks.
Yeah, when I see that carne asada,
take us
into the carne asada, shrimp ceviche, and a Spanish cauliflower rice, which I made up that cauliflower rice, the Spanish rice, because I liked it. Yeah, you don't see any beans there, but it is money. It is great.
It looks restaurant quality. I'm telling you, carne asada, shrimp ceviche, and Spanish cauliflower rice in that first picture there on the left.
Yeah.
Unreal. And then the middle picture, I love it because that is like the zucchini spiralizer from Home Improvement.
And it's a KitchenAid. I started off with the $20 one off of Amazon. And then my wife, she liked, and what I do with the zucchini and everything, I make lo mein. And I like Chinese food and everything else. So I put it in a wok and I cook it. And someone the other day goes, I tried your recipe, Bruce. It wasn't that good on that zucchini. I said, how'd you cook the zucchini? I boiled it.
I did that once.
And I'm like, yeah, it's a watery weird. You have to flash fry it to cook it. And then the other one is steamers. Well, when you're on the West Coast, seafood and steamers and crab and everything else, hey, I can eat things today. I'm just cutting out a baked potato. I'm cutting out the rice. I'm cutting out tortillas, and I'm cutting out, the dark beer, which was pretty awesome back in the day. But I'm cutting it out. And so that's how I got into this cooking with Bruce Frederick. And how I got into it was one day, the guy that lost all the weight that I was watching him, that got me into this thing. Yeah. He goes, Bruce, I'm sick and tired of looking at your, that's a Southern voice, but let's go with that. I kind of like that. I'm sick and tired of looking at all your cooking videos. Kind of sound like Foghorn Leghorn a little bit, didn't it? and I go, what are you talking about? He goes, man, I'm trying to do this lifestyle and you're cooking all this stuff. I said, there's no carbs in it. What are you worried about? You can eat it. And he goes, start yourself a group. Get it off. Get it off your personal page or I'm going to delete you. And I'm like, why would you delete me that I'm showing you ideas? He goes, just start your own group, man. And if I want to look at it, I'll look at it. So that's how I started cooking with Bruce Frederick. Bruce Frederick. Bruce is my first name. Frederick is my middle name. Interesting fact on Frederick, Fred E. Rick, is on my DD-214 from the military, they misspell it. My social security card, they misspelled it. Okay. And so right now I'm thinking, is that the correct spelling of my middle name?
Right. Is there an E? Is there an E there? Or
is there an E or not?
Right.
Yeah. Apparently my dad thought it was funny that he had this friend who was a pig farmer and he would run off with them 3 or 4 times a year. And his name was Fred. And so I ended up with Frederick.
Frederick in the middle.
And I love the name. And I've used the name, doing a lot of weird stuff in my life. And I love it. Bruce Frederick is where I went with it.
That's awesome. And so, but again, it's also, it's not just the food. It's not just the incredible recipes and the cooking. There's a bit of humor in there. There's cinematography. You've got an incredible setup.
Well, I got a friend who just wacko enjoys this video world. And so he's like, Bruce, when are we going to cook something else? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And so he kind of pushes me along to do it. But for me, it's comedy, it's fun. And yep. It entertains me, instead of the negative lifestyle and society and everything else, maybe I could give someone a recipe that they never thought of. And so what happened too is when I was doing this, I got these messages. Hey, Bruce, I saw you cook this, soup or, something. And they said, can you give me the recipe? So I type out the recipe. And now when I do it, I just automatically add the recipe, what I'm doing, because it's amazing how many people don't know what to do with a tri-tip, a brisket, a pork chop or whatever. You got to think about the lameness terms, and helping someone out on a recipe. Yep. And so that's how I started in the recipe, and then I started having fun with it, again, I don't get paid nothing. I don't get any. This is all my hobby, fun stuff.
Yeah. So this video, the intro to the brisket cooking video, was absolutely amazing. I love the retro sheriff's car that you've got. You may or may not be able to read the logo, the badge that's on the side of the car, Sheriff Bruce Frederick in Cook County. Yeah. Just amazing. And you're cooking a 14-pound brisket in this video. Again, I think it's an amazing thing. Cooking, grilling and smoking is huge right now, right? Mm-hmm. And you seem to be a master at that. And that's that kind of meat, that kind of cooking is both phase one and lifestyle. You can do that either way.
Well, I think a chef has a culinary school. I think I'm a cook with a little bit of personality. And I would never take that chef title from somebody who actually went through a culinary school and educated into it. And mine is, I am just like you. I am the everyday Joe, goes to work, comes home. What are you going to cook? And that's the everyday Joe is what I wanted. Not too fancy, just get it down to basic terms and show people some ideas. There's something other than having a baked potato with chili on it and cheese and sour cream, and turn that into something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you did share a couple recipes with me, which I have failed to get up on the slides, but I just realized that I'm going to try to put links to them as part of the show notes.
This one right here.
Of the game. Which one you got there?
Where's the camera at? Where's the camera? It is This one saved my life in phase 1. It was easy peasy Mexican chicken soup.
Yes, you did share that recipe with me.
This thing was easy. And I love personally, I kind of get a kick out my disclaimers at the bottom to kind of laugh. If you read the disclaimer on my recipes, I say stupid stuff like this one. Bruce Frederick is not responsible for the outcome of any recipe you try. Actually, he is amazed that you would try one of his recipes. This is, that kind of, it just goes on. You know how you see in commercials, they got the disclaimer.
Yep.
And so I put in dumb stuff on every recipe. Like, listen, don't touch it. It'll be hot. It'll burn your hands. And if you burn your hand, don't sue me. I'm just trying to teach you a soup. But like this Mexican chicken soup, I mean, money. Chicken breast, 4 cups of water. The breast itself, did I say breast on this live network? Chicken breast.
I'm sorry. Say that again, Bruce. You froze on me. The breast itself.
Did I say chicken breast?
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't use the word breast, Dr. Barnes.
But
I'm talking about chicken breast.
That was on our list of no's we went through before the show. Which so anyway, pretty much checked all the boxes there.
Chicken breast, water, and then add the vegetables and spices. And I'm telling you, I come home, I put it on in the morning. I'd come home for lunch. I eat it. It satisfied me. It was awesome. And I would drop pounds just messing around with that. I still do it. If I'm in a jam and I'm like, what am I going to do for lunch? And there's nothing in there. I get a couple chicken breasts out, throw them in there. And that recipe right there, money.
Yep. So we will.
And that was my phase 1.
And then the other one you shared with me, Supreme Pizza Casserole for maintenance. My God.
This son of a gun, this crazy bird, this one made me start writing recipes because it's crazy easy. You're using cauliflower rice as a crust for the casserole pizza dish.
Yep.
And when you eat it, it is so rich, and you're thinking, I'm going down. I'm gaining weight. And when you have this, and actually, Dr. Barnes, you should, I sent it to you, have your, I don't know if you can cook cold cereal, but have your wife try this out, or you try it and tell me what you think about it. And I come up with these crazy ideas. A lot of people lay there and think about making $1 million. I'm thinking, what am I going to make tomorrow for dinner?
I'd say more people think about that than they think about the $1 million.
Well,
and that's why this is so helpful. Again, people need to tune into your channel on Facebook, and it's also on YouTube, so that they can understand that adopting the lifestyle and getting rid of starches and sugars from your lifestyle doesn't suck. It actually can be pretty amazing. You can eat some amazing things. And I love the fact that, a big guy like you is showing people how to cook and enjoy themselves this way and having such an impact.
Yeah.
Tell me about, you made t-shirts and you made stickers for your cooking channel. Tell us the story about those and how that went over.
One day and I hate to bore anybody with all these crazy stories. My wife's tired of hearing it too. But one day, I get this guy who says, "Hey, Bruce, you got a t-shirt? I see you got this logo, and how I came up with this logo is you see in here, and you'll see on the Facebook page, there's a cowboy hat and glasses and a mustache. And normally I'm wearing a mustache, but I've been on vacation, so I didn't want to shave that much. That's why I got a goatee. Ronnie Millsap. You guys remember Ronnie Millsap? Oh,
yeah.
Ronnie Millsap, actually from Kentucky. His life story is so interesting to me. Growing up blind in Kentucky in this little cabin, and we go on for hours with that. But in Ronnie Millsap glasses, he has these 2 stars on each one of his glasses. And I love Ronnie Millsap. There's a stranger in my house. Probably not a good idea. But he had these stars in his glasses. And so I'm like, I want to put 1 star down in the 1 star in there
on the corner of the left glasses. Yeah.
For the cops. For the cops, so the cops know that I'm one of them kind of thing. And, and it's kind of the, let them know that it's me. Yep. And then in the Bruce Frederick, I came up with that because of Barrett Jackson had this font. And Barrett Jackson sells cars across the country and everything else. Huge car auction place. And I always loved that font. I don't know if it's the same or not, but so I came up with that. And then next thing you know, someone says, "Hey, you got a sticker, Bruce?" And I said, "A sticker?" If you're a cop and a kid comes up to you, "Got a sticker?" You give them a sticker. You give them a little badge sticker. And so I made these stickers, and then they go on cars and everything else. And there's been a couple times, I'm driving home from that crazy bird town of Seattle. And, I'm like, I look over and I'm like, "That's my sticker on that car." And my wife's like, "Oh my God." And so because she's like,
"Here we go again," right?
Yeah, he's going to talk about the sticker for 2 hours. And so the T-shirts, one day someone says, "Hey, we're doing this event. We're doing a car show, Bruce. I want you to come down and cook for, do hamburgers." I said, "I don't cook cheeseburgers, kind of thing." "Well, cook whatever you want, but bring some T-shirts." So I had a guy make these T-shirts of Cooking with Bruce Frederick type T-shirts, and they went crazy. So when I'm out and about, I don't think people know it's me, because this hat covers my beautiful hair, and I got these 1960s sunglasses half the time when I'm wearing them. Well, they probably do, but I just give it away. It's just fun for me.
That's great.
And so I got a lot of community members that will donate, just for the cause.
Yeah.
And so, and then cups and that kind of stuff. But it's just fun.
Awesome. Yeah.
I just do it for entertainment.
Speaking of fun and entertainment, again, on your channel, not just cooking, evidently there might be some singing going on too.
Well, that video right there is about with the Bruce Frederick Band. And so when people show up at my house, especially on a Thanksgiving or Christmas, next thing you know, they find themselves in a video. And I said, "You put on the UV glove." You guys know the UV glove that you pull stuff out of.
Right. Yeah.
Which I'm a big believer in the UV glove. I mean,
UV glove rocks.
UV glove. If you're listening to me right now, I'm telling you right now, I'm a big believer, and you should put Bruce Frederick on the bottom of it.
100%.
So anyway, I get these guys in my old man room out there in the shop, and I said, "Listen, we're going to do a video here." And they're like, "Yeah, whatever." Well, I got all these props, I got all these guitars and everything else. I said, "You got the guitar, you got the piano." And so they start playing, and I sing my song, "Suspicious Minds," and which is my favorite song. And I tell you what, Scylla, if you're thinking about me right now, think deeply, because I'll be back one day and we'll be in Graceland. Mama, if you're out there too, I love you. And so I think that's just a squirrely, off the wall, off the topic thing. And
how does that go? It's like, "We're caught in a." How do you sing that?
Well, I'm going to give you a little bit. Bright city gonna set my soul. Viva Las Vegas. But that's actually Viva Las Vegas, not
Dude, you got it. That's the voice, though. Dang.
Actually, one time in my life, which I don't know how long we've been doing this, but one time in my life, I got had to do the 6-year-old birthday party. I'm in my 20s, and they're like, "Bruce, hey, will you dress up in Elvis, come over and do the DJ and all this stuff?" And they bought me this $350 Elvis jumpsuit.
No, what you got? Jumpsuit.
Yeah, what you're seeing in that picture is a jumpsuit. I'm just wearing Wranglers over top of it because I think it's stupid funny. And so I go do this birthday party, and next thing you know, someone comes up, "Hey, Bruce, will you come over because this person and tell them happy birthday?" And I'm like, "We'll give you $100. I said, "You're going to give me $100 to sing one song?" "Yeah." So I drive over there, I'm driving over, and wearing a stupid Elvis costume, looking like a weirdo. And I do the song, get $100. And this went on for about 6 months till I show up at one place and they looked at me like I was absolutely crazy and they gave me $22. So I'm done. I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. $22, the embarrassment, the faces, everything else, I can't do it. And so I quit doing the Elvis impersonation.
Oh,
True story.
That is a shame. All right, real quick. Last thing I do want to go through before we close the show. We had kind of talked about some of Bruce's favorite Ideal Protein products when he was in phase 1. Some of the things that got him through. You mentioned to me that you like to use the broccoli soup.
Yeah, and actually, I'm not saying these things to prop up Ideal Protein or nothing. I'm saying it because it's what worked for me. And one of them, hey, you got a ding?
I don't.
Ding! This one is a potato puree.
Yeah.
And I still use it today. Let's say I want to do an eggplant parmesan. An eggplant parmesan or whatever like that. I use this instead of flour, the breading. And, or if I want to pan fry razor clams, or if I want to do a chicken fried steak, this is money in this potato puree. I've thought about this a lot. I don't know how I came up with it.
So on the list of don'ts, the word fry is on the don't list, but we're going to change that to saute. So if you want to do some breading and saute those things, then...
Well, I probably covered about 40 don'ts. But I'm telling you what I did was 108 pounds. So I'm kind of know what I'm talking about for you guys.
Yep, 100%.
I can't say that for the gals.
And your favorite bar, what was the favorite bar that you liked?
Yeah, it's like that pomegranate.
The cranberry pomegranate bar, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Nobody could beat it. I even asked Dr. Barnes about it. I said, hey, listen, have you found a bar that's even equivalent to that? And like, no, I haven't. And I'm like, you're lucky because you were in that office. You can get it whenever you want. I got to drive all the way to Centralia to get it. I loved it. In the morning, it was my number one. That and coffee. The other thing here is the water. I would say the water was the most important thing. And I drank it like beer. Folks, I would drink it like I'm trying to get drunk at 7 in the morning. And so I would put one of these, what is this one? Mango. I need glasses.
The mangosteen, yeah, the mangosteen.
Yeah, mangosteen. I dump that in that big old bottle of water. And you know what? Where is my measuring at? Boy, it's weird on the camera. But anyway, I dumped that in there and I would, bam! I would drink that thing like that. Morning, lunch, dinner, not when I went to bed because I don't want to be up 6 times. But I had 2.5 gallons probably in water in my belly all day long. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks after when I started this was a crazy energy. I mean, it was like I'm on some kind of weirdo stimulant. And I'm out there, messing around, weeding the garden, at 5:30 in the morning. The energy was the most craziest, exciting thing I've ever had in my life. Right. I've never felt it like. And I think what happens once you get in that keto world, get out of here, flies. Once you get in that keto, and you get this energy and your body's burning it, it doesn't know what to do with it. And so you're just flying crazy fast. And I loved it, and I think what I'll end up doing, just to find that energy again, I'll go back to phase 1 because it was so crazy awesome. I mean, if I want to paint the house, I'll go back to phase 1. If I want to, if I got to dig a ditch that's 100 yards long, I'm going back to phase 1 because it was, and everybody I've talked to has experienced it. Did you experience it yourself?
Oh, 100%. And like we were talking about before, for me, it was it had such an impact on me because I had no energy going into this program for about 5 years. I was the guy who could fall asleep anywhere. Fell asleep at a traffic light once. Don't tell my wife. And I remember the day when that energy settled in and I was just like, oh my God, this is what they talk about.
It's a natural, honest thing. And I always tell people, and I probably set people up.
One more second. Say it again, Bruce.
It's a natural, honest thing. And I probably set up, I don't know, 70, 80 people, and every one of them tell me about this energy rush.
Yeah.
And I want them experience what I experience. And, at the time, I probably watched everything on Netflix, Amazon, everything on TV. I could care less if the TV's on anymore. It's just I'll probably listen to music before I do anything else. But I truly believe in it. And
fantastic.
And I think that, hey, if you don't believe me, you can call me. You can ask me questions, send me a Facebook message, say you're a liar. Because I've been called worse in this line of profession.
Oh, Bruce, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll direct you to Cooking with Bruce Frederick on Facebook and YouTube. And I do hope when travel starts to become a big thing again, et cetera, I've got to come out to Washington State. I've got more guests from Washington State, so I would love to come out there, have you host a 14-pound brisket cookout. Yeah. And, I just think that would be the coolest thing, because I think you and I would have a great time.
Well, Dr. Barnes, I appreciate it. And I think I'm living and life is possible. And I tell you what, I got to get my pants on before my wife gets home, because she walks in, sees me in her underwear, and it's like noon. And she's going to think that I'm an idiot.
I think that's the last check mark on the list of don'ts that we went through before we started this whole thing. All right, Bruce, I'm going to kick you out of the studio. Put your pants on, and we'll talk later. Oh, man. So thank you so much for joining us here on the Life Possible podcast. Another episode in the books. It was a wild and woolly ride with Bruce, and I absolutely thank him for everything he's done, both for our country and he's doing now. And I do hope to be able to hang with Bruce as well. Hey, please, if you enjoy this show, like it, share it, send it out to your friends. Subscribe to the Facebook or the YouTube channels for viewing. And we are now on iTunes podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google. Please go over to those platforms, subscribe and download the shows on audio. Help me out. We're trying to build this momentum here and use this for bigger and better things. So yes, next week I'm already working on next week's show. So excited for next week. We're going to bring you Jenna Stafford. Jenna Stafford is the manager and head coach at Precision Wellness of Amarillo in Amarillo, Texas. This lady, I've been a Facebook fan of hers now for a while. She is absolutely a motivator. And I can't wait to get her on and tap into some of her coaching secrets, because, if you were one of her clients, I can't even imagine what your IP experience is. So 2 weeks from today, I believe that'll be October 1st, we'll be putting out episode number 11 with Jenna Stafford. So as always, like I say, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I can't even tell you how excited I am for the Ideal Protein, the company. We had an all company seminar yesterday on their plans for the near future. And I got to tell you, our future is so bright, and I couldn't be more excited for the lives that we're going to be able to touch and change in the future. So until then, everybody keep living life possible.